Welcome to the Locums Strategist Podcast. I am your host, Simon Parsons, and this is the show where we help physicians take control of your skill set and create a lifestyle that you want using Locum Tenens as a pathway to making that happen. On this show, I will be discussing one of my favorite tools that I love to use to help my physicians have success and consistent work when it comes to Locum Tenens. This tool is called the IMLC Compact License. Now, what does that mean exactly? IMLC is what I like to call it, but other people refer to it as the Compact License, but it stands for Interstate Medical Licensure Compact. This is something that was rolled out about 5 or 6 years ago, and I was so excited at the time to see this coming, but also how quickly it's moved along. But basically, it's a way to get expedited licenses. When I say expedited, it's almost like just pushing a button to get a different license. And I'll explain why this is so powerful and all the benefits that come from this. But before I do that, I just wanted to share an analogy that I like to use when I'm explaining this to the physicians that I work with. So imagine if you have a gym that you love to work out at, and it's just down the street. Super convenient, but you like to go on trips with your family. You like to go on vacations, and also you have some business trips. But working out is really important to you, so you hate missing out on that. Let's say this gym has an upgraded license that you can pay a little bit more for. And with that upgraded membership, it gives you the ability to work out at satellite locations wherever you go to. So when you're on vacation or when you're on a business trip, it's easy for you to just walk in and show your upgraded membership. They'll let you in. They'll treat you like family. They'll treat you like that's your home facility. So that's an analogy that I like to use when it comes to the IMLC. It's basically the licensing version of that. Imagine being able to apply for one license that gives you basically 33 other states that you could work in. That, in a nutshell, is what the compact license is all about. Now, here's what's cool is at the time of this recording, 33 states in the United States that are involved in this. So if you have a pathway to accessing and getting a letter of qualification, what this means for you is that you basically are licensed in 33 other states, but you don't even actually have to go get those licenses. You can just pull out your little letter of qualification anytime you need them, right? So here's the benefits of having the IMLC letter of qualification. What this does is it opens up your locum's footprint to over half of the United States. So jobs that you previously wouldn't have been able to apply for or be qualified for, with the IMLC, all of a sudden, if you have that letter of qualification, you will be considered. So back in the old days, when I first started Locum Tenens work, this is 2013, 2014, if I was working with a brand new doctor, what we'd have to do is we'd have to start thinking strategically, like, where is it that you want to go? Where do you have family? Where do you want to work? Where are you excited to explore in the United States? Once I knew that, then I'd take a look and see where we've had previous jobs, see what it looks like, see what the market looks like. Is there demand there, or is it a place where we never see anything? And then with that information, we'd take a stab in the dark. We'd gamble and basically pay for a license and then hope that we find more jobs. But basically, the more licenses that you have, the bigger footprints you have when it comes to opportunities. The IMLC absolutely changes that. So I think that's the first biggest benefit, is that this letter of qualification, if you're able to get one, it opens you up to more than half the United States. Another benefit about the IMLC is it's actually easier to get a lot of these licenses than going directly to that state and applying. Like, you can literally push a button and get a license if you have that letter of qualification in just a few days sometimes. It's amazing how easy it works, right? Rather than having to go get the application from a specific state and fill out all those forms. Once you have that letter of qualification, you simply go into that website, you select the state that you want, you push your button, and sometimes in a few days, you'll get that license and be able to work in that location. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than that, but for the most part, this thing was designed to really expedite the licensing process and allow physicians to work across state lines in a much easier way than previously was allowed. Okay, the next thing that I would say is a huge benefit of this is it allows you to participate in urgent needs that are coming up. For example, I had a physician that I really wanted to get him working in Arizona, and a need came up, and it was only 3 weeks away. But when there's an urgent need that comes up, clients, hospitals, practices are more likely to move quickly because they need to get somebody in there or risk not having coverage. They have to shut everything down. So I was able to use the IMLC to get a physician into a job. And as I am confirming him for these dates that are 3 weeks away, this physician was literally on the IMLC site getting his Arizona license, which came in less than 24 hours. So that, my friends, is the power and the benefits of having this. I'd say the last thing that I wanted to highlight as a benefit of having the IMLC is it allows you to be presented to opportunities without having the license in hand. Now, before this came out, if you did not have a state license and you were applying for a locums physician, the default for that the client would look at licensed candidates first. But sometimes they'd only look at licensed candidates because they didn't want to risk confirming somebody and then not being able to get them in on time because they were waiting for the license to come through. The letter of qualification is basically your membership to get that license anytime that you want. You're good to go. Think of it as a proxy license. So, how do you qualify? How do you get the letter of qualification? What this looks like is you would go on to the IMLC website, which I will drop a link to in the show notes. I'd love for you to go check it out anyways, so that way you can see which states are participating, so I don't have to list out all 33 states right here on this episode, but go in there and take a look for yourself. And it's pretty interesting at which states are involved in this, but you have that letter of qualification. Any of those blue states that are listed on that map, you basically have a license for, right? What are their requirements? You'll fill out a 6 to 7 page application, and sometimes they will require you to go get fingerprints done. But other than that, you fill out the application, you pay a $700 fee, and then you wait for you to get the letter of qualification. Now, what do you need to have as far as qualifications? For one, you need to make sure you don't have any issues on the National Practitioner Data Bank. You can have malpractice payouts, but if you have any big red flags, that bars you from using the IMLC. You also need to be board certified. You need to have 25% of your income coming from that state or be working in that state or living in that state. So those are the basic requirements. Once you've met that, they will send you your letter of qualification. I've seen it issue in seriously as quick as 2 days, but sometimes it may be up to 3 or 4 weeks depending on the state. But I think for the most part, you can count on getting your letter of qualification in 1 to 3 weeks, sometimes quicker and occasionally slower than that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how would I be using this? How do I use this as a tool? So when it comes to helping a physician get work, the first thing that I like to do as far as my process is I hop on a call with a physician and do what I call a strategy session. And in that strategy session, I ask them 2 basic questions. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you ultimately want? And why is that important? And a lot of times I'll ask some follow-up questions so they have a really good understanding of why locums is important to that physician and what they want to get out of it. And then I craft out a strategy to make that happen. And one of the first things that I look for is, does this physician qualify to get the IMLC letter of qualification? If they do, I love supporting a physician. If I know that they are bought in on this, if they're not just window shopping and they really want to bring in some income with locums or have a different lifestyle, they're motivated to make that happen, I will support them in that. I will sponsor a license for them. I'll pay for that $700. That way we have more options to work with. And here's what's cool is when I do this, I have a higher, it's not only helping the physician out, that helps me out, right? I have a higher chance of success. So this is something that I highly recommend with a little bit of context. Like I said, I want to make sure that I'm working with somebody who's motivated to make this happen. They're not just, oh, it'd be nice. They want to make this happen. Okay, I want to support you in this. So let's get this letter of qualification. Once they get that, then I ask them, out of these states, which ones do you want me to focus on? All of them, or are there specific states that you are more or less interested in? Let's take a look at that. But right away, that gives me more options to bring to the attention of the physician. So now that I know which states that I can work with, I will start sending the physician jobs that are in those states. Sometimes it'll be anything that is listed in an IMLC state, okay? Then the next part of that is we present them to jobs and we try to get them confirmed. Here's the cool thing though, is a lot of these hospitals are really open to this idea. They understand how the IMLC works. They know that they are good to go. We don't have to go out there and go guns blazing with actually getting the licenses. We just need that letter of qualification to present to jobs. Once that job is confirmed, the first thing that I do is I just have the physician go into the IMLC site, select the state, click the button, and get the license. And then typically it comes pretty quickly. I have not had any issues. I have good data on how quickly these do issue. Just knowing that stuff really gives me an advantage, and it gives the physician an advantage too. That's what the process looks like. Quick recap on this. What is the IMLC? It's the Interstate Medical Licensure Compact. You apply in one place, get a letter of qualification, and it gives you access to getting a license quickly in 33 other states. It does not mean that you actually get those licenses unless you take the next step, which is go onto their website, select the state that's participating that you want to get a license in, push the button, and you may pay an additional fee as well, but that license should come pretty quickly. Why is this important? It opens up your locums footprint and allows you to participate in more job opportunities. It's easier to get than going the standard route for most licenses. It allows you to jump on urgent needs like the one that I described in Arizona to you. And lastly, it allows you to be presented to jobs without having that actual license in hand. You go onto the website, you fill out a 6 to 7 page application. The fee is about $700. Sometimes you need fingerprints, and then within a few days, you should get that letter of qualification. Requirements are you need to be board certified, have no major red flags, and then be making at least 25% of your income in the state of, I guess I should have mentioned that, the state that you go through to get this, where you have to qualify, that's called the state of principal licensure. So you need to be making 25% of your income in one of those states. You need to live there or have a residency there. And then, like I said, no red flags and board certification. All right, my friends, please go into the show notes where you can click on a link to go directly to the IMLC site where you can check out and see which states are participating in that. I've also got a link to my Ultimate Locum Tenens Playbook, which is a PDF with all kinds of really good stuff in there as it relates to locums. I've got some good case studies and some best practices. Download that free ebook if you'd like. And then if you would like to set up a strategy call with me and you're a general vascular or trauma surgeon, there's a link to book a 30-minute call with me where we'll have some fun designing out what this could look like for you. If you're interested in locums, but you're not a surgeon and you'd like me to put you in contact with somebody who can help you out, I'll leave a link for my email address. And you can also use that for suggestions or feedback. If there's a topic that you would like me to cover or a specific question, I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much. I would love it if you would do me a favor. If you're on Apple or Spotify, it's really easy to drop me some stars. It just takes a second. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave me some stars and help me grow this, or share it with somebody who could benefit from the information on this podcast. Thank you so much. I will catch you on the next episode.